Welcome to the Melissa Banks Show. I'm your host, Melissa Banks, and I'm excited that you decided to join us today. This show is all about celebrating the journey of authors, entrepreneurs, people who are boldly chasing their dreams, creating meaningful products and services, and inspiring others to do the same. Each episode, we will uncover the stories behind the successes, the lessons learned from challenges, and the advice that can spark action in your own life. My goal is simple: to remind you that your dreams are possible and to leave you feeling inspired and empowered. So let's get started with today's show. Our guest today is Candice Robinson. Candice is an author and entrepreneur who has an incredible story. Looking forward to hearing from her. Welcome to the show, Candice.
Thank you so much. I am so excited and so honored to be on the Melissa Banks Show. I am excited.
Well, we're excited to have you and looking forward to learning more about your journey. So that's where we'll begin, Candice. At the beginning, did you talk to us about what sparked your journey as an author and your entrepreneurship and how you turned the dream of being an author into the reality it is today?
Well, I tell you, I never thought about becoming an author or writing anything, and it was really funny how it all started. I started out by creating coloring books, and I created a coloring book entitled Shades of Sisterhood, honoring the beauty and the power of the Black woman. And then I did one for the men. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, I haven't done anything to honor my God because of him all things are possible. So I got to thinking, I said, well, I'm just gonna write a little small book. And that's what I did. It was more of a guide through about praying and to keeping the faith when you don't feel like praying. And a coworker was like, "You ought to get that book published." And so she introduced me to Dr. Terry Hunt. And she is how I met Dr. Anissa Short through Chosen Pen.
Mhm.
And when she looked at the manuscript and I told her how many words I think I had like 5,000 words. And she said, "Oh, baby, you need about 20,000 more words." And I'm thinking, oh my God, where am I going to pull this out from? So I began to talk to my husband, and he was like, you're not being personal enough with the book that I wrote. And so when I start putting pen and paper down, I started thinking, how can I use my life as an example of what God has done for me and what he has brought me through, and praying through the darkest times of my life, how hard it was, but how it was necessary for me to get through the trying times that I was going through. And that is how praying through the darkness began. And it has just opened up a whole new world for me. I wanted to just help people. So I started selling a life insurance. I got my life insurance license, and it has just opened up so much for me. I began to talk in front of people and in front of different women groups, and just trying to talk to them about the things that I have been through and how we really need each other to to lift us up in those hard times. And I wrote this book for anybody who has been in the darkest times of their life, know they needed to pray, but just didn't have the strength to pray. And that is why I wrote this book, to share my story. I just want my life to not be in vain and to help somebody else get through what they think they can't.
I think that's awesome. You remind me of myself, actually, and I was talking about this recently. That in the darkest season is when my faith built up. It's when I came out of it feeling more close to God, feeling more accomplished, feeling more confident. And my faith was bolder and stronger when I came out of that season.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
believe that this is going to help so many people. And as you was talking, I was just thinking about that because I was just recently talking with the ladies group and sharing some things about that. So thank you so much for being open and
Hmm.
sharing that. It is definitely going to help people. At the end, we want to make sure you let people know how they can get their hands on that book.
Okay,
Okay.
I definitely will.
Okay, Candice, talk to us a little bit. Share a moment in your journey. There's a moment, a specific moment in my journey. I've been building my business 26 years, but there is a moment in my journey that I refer to as my defining moment. It was a moment that changed everything, changed my thought process, changed my expectations, changed my vision. Is there a moment on your journey that you would say was a turning point moment that shaped who you are today?
Absolutely. There are a lot of things in the book, a lot of situations in my life, but the one that stands out the most to me is losing my parents. I lost my father in 2019, and then my mother passed in 2020. And my
Mm,
parents were my rock. Um, my siblings and I are 5 and 6 years apart. I'm the baby. And they didn't want nothing to do with me. I didn't want a little sister trailing behind them. So I was really close to my mom, and I hung out with my parents a lot. And when we lost them, it just took something out of me. I used to hear people say it just took the life out of me. And that did, to lose both of them so close together and realize that I had to spend the rest of my life without my rock. I thank God for my husband because he is my rock now. But your parents are just, when you got good parents, they're the ones that you run to, the ones that you run to for advice. So when I lost them, I had to not blame God and not be mad at God, because for a while I was mad. I'm like, why do I have to be here without my rocks, the people that introduced me to you? But I had to realize that we are all here for just a moment. We
mm,
are on borrowed time. And I had to realize that my mom and my dad were not mine. They belonged to God.
yes, sir.
And he decided to call them back home. And when I got over being, I guess, throwing myself a little pity party, woe is me, why me? I'm not the first person to lose their parents. But that was the turning point. That was a turning point for me to accept that God called his children home. They did their job, they ran their race. And I had to realize that I'm still here so that I can run mine and finish mine. So that's a big story in the book here about grief, because a lot of people don't know how to handle grief properly. And I know there are some people that cut their relationship off totally with God because they've lost someone, and it's just simply because they don't know how to handle it, or they don't understand the death process or grief process. When I think about my parents not having to suffer with
Mm,
their illnesses anymore, I rejoice. Yes, I miss them. I miss them dearly. I just had a grandbaby on the 23rd of December. And when I look at my grandkids and know that my parents are not here to share in that joy, it hurts.
yeah.
But I have to not be, I don't want to use the word selfish, but I have to not be selfish, but be thankful to God that they are no longer on this earth, that they are resting in his bosom. And it was a hard time in my life, really hard, but it's just another example of God's grace and mercy and how he will bring you through whatever it is that you're going through.
That's absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. It means so much because it can also help someone who is like my mom is 90 years old, and
Mm,
right now we see her health declining, and she's having
yeah.
challenges. But my prayer is, I thank you, God, for giving us, loaning us her for the
Yes.
90 years that we have her right now, and just grateful for every moment we have going forward. So that is going to help somebody who's not maybe not quite there yet, but
Yeah.
mentally getting their mind straight, and it's going to help people, just like you said. People don't understand how to deal with it, so that is so great, and all of that's in your book, and that's going to help some people.
Yes.
Your pain is going to help somebody. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Hmm. Hmm.
One of the things I like to talk about on this show, Candice, is challenges. Some people look at entrepreneurs, they look at authors, and they think everything's wonderful. We wake up every day smiling and excited, and everything going exactly like we planned, right? Well, you and I both know that's not the
That is
case.
not the case. Not at all.
You work through those challenges. So I like to have you share something that you just shared so much about your parents, but have you faced a challenge in your business on this journey of entrepreneurship that you had to overcome and keep going?
Yes. So many things. Um, the book, like I said, was to encourage people. But when people hear buy or
Mhm.
that you're selling something, um, they kind of pull back. And it doesn't matter whether it's if it's an inspirational book or something educational. People don't want to. They don't want to buy. So one of the challenges that I have faced is trying to get people to understand I'm not in this for the money. I didn't write this so that this book could be a number one bestseller and I could get rich. If that happens, to God be the glory. But my biggest challenge is to get people to understand that I wrote this book simply for somebody that's struggling and lost. And like you said, people think when you write a book, everything is honky dory. No, it's not. And that's why I wrote the book, because life is challenging. Life is hard. Life can make you want to give up. And we get lost and we don't know which way to turn. And God expects us to edify one another. So this was my obedience. I wrote the book to edify people, to lift them up, and to encourage. And that's a big thing. It's hard to get people together. Um, to talk about the book because people simply don't want to buy. You tell them where you can purchase it. Well, how much is the book? And I understand that people's money is their money, but I strive to serve God first and then my pocket. Like I said, if I make good money off of the book, that's great. To God be the glory. I'm just going to turn around and use it, for something else for God's kingdom. But my biggest obstacle is telling people, yeah, you have to buy the book, and them not wanting to buy the book because they don't want to spend money. They feel like it's something that is not necessary for them. But you until you open those pages, you never know how it can help you. And it may not be anything in here for you, but it may be something in here from somebody else that may come to you that needs some help. And then that way you'll be able to direct them to something like this, something like praying through the darkness. You may not need it, but somebody else may need it. So I found that to be a challenge. As a new writer, I didn't know how hard it was. I really didn't. And even with the life insurance, people don't want to buy it. They feel it's not necessary. So when people hear you're selling something, they tend to run away.
That's interesting that you say that, because as entrepreneurs, as people who go into business, whether you're an author or you're selling a product um, or whatever your service is, being in business means there's a cost. But also, you said something that was powerful, that I'm focusing on my purpose, what it is that I'm hoping my book will impact others on,
Hmm.
and the person who's going to your customer is going to hear you. The key is to just keep going. And that's
Yeah.
what you're doing right now by being on shows like this, working with people like Dr. Anissa Short. Your book is going to get in the hands of the people that it was intended for.
Yes.
So thank you for
Yes.
sharing that. I do need to reset right here. If you're
Hmm.
just joining us, this is the Melissa Banks Show. Our guest today is author entrepreneur Candice Robinson. Okay, Candice, so talk to us about some lessons on this journey. What
Hmm.
share with us some lessons that you've learned. Your journey is just beginning, but talk to us
Hmm.
about some of the things that you've learned along the way that has shaped your perspective today.
As I have, after writing the book, I had a coworker. Dr. Short had asked me at the book release, where do I see myself going from here after writing the book? And one of my coworkers said, I see you talking to women about divorce and grief and health. And I was thinking when she said that, no, that's not what I want to do. But I had to quickly shut my mouth because it's not my will, but it's God's will. And since she said that, I've had an opportunity to talk to a couple of women's groups. And one thing that I have learned is there are a lot of women out here who are hurting, a lot of women out here who are not seeking help, that need help. And we as women, and I'm not slighting men by any means, but there are so many women that have faced so many trials and challenges, and we put so much on our plate that we really need more women's support groups. That's something that I was not aware of until I wrote the book and started getting out here and listening to women, yes, listening to young girls. We are hurting. We are hurting. In my prayers a lot, I say, God, your people are hurting and we need you. So I'm so glad that God gave me the strength to write this book, because when you're sharing your personal life, it can get embarrassing telling the things that you've been through, depending on what you've been through. Some of that stuff is embarrassing, and it's embarrassing to me in my book. It's a lot of things in here that I thought I would never share publicly. But if you're going to be transparent, you got to be transparent all the way. So I've learned that people are hurting, especially women. They're hurting, and they're holding it in. They're holding it in, and I've learned that it's through sometimes shame, sometimes fear of what people are going to think. So they hold all of this in, and it's deteriorating us. I think of it as eating us up from the inside and keeping us from being the women of God that He has called us to be. I feel like so many women are running from their calling because of things that has happened to them in the past, and they can't let go, or they don't know how to let go. So I believe that we need more women support groups um, to help each other. We need to be able to lean on each other. And like I said, I didn't know that. This has really gotten me out of my bubble. And now I can see truly that there is a need for uplifting and a need for support with women.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I will share with you that the very first time I shared my story was in 2019 publicly on a stage. And a lot of it was what you just said. It was something that I felt like I had to keep close and not talk about publicly. But when I stepped on that stage in 2019, there were 350 women in the
Wow.
audience. And that was the first time I ever shared my story. And what changed for me in that moment was those women coming up to me saying, you know what, you told my story today. You
Mm-hmm.
helped me today.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what changed everything for me. It's my story. It's not for me. It's for the women who hearing my
Exactly.
story will help. So you hang on to
Exactly.
that, because from that moment on, there were no shame. There's no shame. I talk about it because I know there's somebody out there that needs to hear it. And your story is the same. No shame.
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. Hmm.
So Candice, I do want to talk to you about starting your business. When you started as an author, you shared a little bit about that at the beginning, but
Hmm.
sometimes it's just very, very hard to just press that start button. So, what advice would you give to someone who's listening to you right now
Hmm.
that has that book or has those pages like you had at the beginning, but
Hmm.
didn't take that next step like you did? Talk to them about, because starting is the key, and if you can't
Right.
start, you can't make it happen. So, talk to them about, just give them some advice on how to get past that and go ahead and start.
I would just tell them, first of all, pray about it. Ask God to guide you on what you should write, who you should talk to, who's your audience. I mean, everything from the type of font you use to everything. Pray about it and ask God to guide you and lead you. And then I would advise to get with someone who is professionally in the business if you want to write, or somebody that has written. I just thank God that I knew somebody that knew somebody, and that's what it takes. But I would advise you to talk to someone who has written a book before. What I learned is that there are a lot of authors out here. I worked with people for years and never knew they had written a book, had no idea about it. So talk to someone that has done that, who has been there before, and that can help you with the ins and outs. I would also encourage you to get with a publishing company. I know people say, well, I don't have the money to do that. I didn't either. I did not have the money. I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to get it published. But if you get with the right publishing company, they will work. They will work with you. And also, don't. I would advise them, don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt your ability to tell your story, or to follow through with your dreams. Doubt and fear keeps us from doing a lot of things. Don't doubt yourself. If God brought it to your head, then there's something that He wants you to do with it. So follow your heart, but consult God before you do anything. That's the best advice that I can give. Is to consult God and ask Him to guide you and direct your steps with what you're seeking to do.
Oh, that is awesome. You heard it here. Pray about it, follow God's guidance, and go to somebody who knows how to do it. So that's basically what you just said. And thank you for that. And my
Mhm,
next question to you is about you. It's about
mhm.
you. And getting started in this industry can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
It can be busy. You can be dealing with the life. Things are not looking like you planned for them to look, because
Mhm.
we have the perfect plan, but sometimes our plan and God's plan is not aligned.
Totally different.
So
Yeah.
when some things are happening, it doesn't look like nothing is happening. You can just get overwhelmed. So how do you stay motivated and stay focused on your goals?
I'm gonna tell you, it's not always easy, especially when challenges come, especially from just everyday life. It's difficult, but you have to just focused. Stay focused on Stay focused on God. He tells us in His word to keep our minds stayed on Him, and He will direct us. And that's one of the biggest things is when I find myself getting overwhelmed, I pray, and then I take a step back. It's okay to step back and not feel in a hurry. My husband tells me all the time, slow down. We get in such a hurry and we try to take on so much, and I'm still struggling with that, trying to put so much on our plate at one time. But take a step back. Give yourself time to breathe. Take care of yourself. Because when we put too much on our plate, we forget to take care of our temple that God gives us. We forget to take care of our mental health and our spiritual health. Step back. Take a step back. And it's okay to start over. If it looks like the plan is not working the way that you want it to go, which I've had to do several times, start over. It's okay to go back to the drawing board. It's okay to get guidance to see where you went wrong. It's okay to start over. It doesn't mean you're a failure. That means you're a trooper, because you're not giving up. You're a soldier. God didn't create us to fail. So it's okay to go back to the drawing board and start over.
Wow, I love that. Love that. I work with a publicist, and we have strategy meetings. We don't have one. We have one every month, because sometimes you do need to go back and start again. You need
Hmm.
to look at it and tweak some things, so that is really huge. And another thing you said that was huge is just step back. That is
Yes,
the hardest thing for us
yes,
busy people to do, is to just take a deep breath and step back.
yeah.
I know for me it is. If I have a few extra moments, I feel it with something. So that is such
Me
great
too.
advice. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Hmm.
Candice, for sharing your journey with us. What a journey it is, and I'm excited about your new book and looking forward to seeing more from you. Tell us what's next from you. What can we look forward to, and how our audience can stay connected to you and support your work.
Okay. Well, what's next? I'm actually writing a children's book. My 3-year-old grandson is autistic, and a lot of people doesn't don't understand what autism is, and so those individuals are looked at differently. So I wanted to do something to honor people with autism and my grandson my heart. So I am in the process of having a book published about an autistic superhero, so that should be coming forth in April during autism awareness month. And what's next? I want to write another book. I have some ideas, but I'm just praying on it and asking God what direction He wants me to go. But I just realized that I have a calling on my life, so I've gotten into ministry, and I am hoping to start a couple of women's groups. Like I had mentioned to you, I feel like that there is a need for more support groups for us. And so I'm praying about that and asking God to lead and guide me there. My book is available exclusively on Amazon. You can get it there just by typing in the name of the book, or you can type my whole name in and you can pull the book up there. I just got my landing page where you can book me for conferences or different things like that. And it is slipping my mind right now. I had it, but I'm going to email it to you. If you could put it up or something like that. I do
Yes.
know it's through Lovable, but through there you can reach me, my contact information. But you can also reach me at Candy Robinson 200 at gmail.com. That's CANDI ROBINSON 200 at gmail.com. I check my email all throughout the day, so you can reach me there. And again, I will give that landing page address to you where they can go and read a little bit about me, read a little bit about the book, and that's it.
Well, we'll be sure to just get it to me, and I'll be sure to put it with this video when it gets ready to drop. Thank you, Candice, for being willing to share your story. We wish you the best success ever. And
Thank
thank you so
you.
much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure and my honor. Thank you so much.
And thank you to our audience for joining us for the Melissa Banks Show. I hope today's conversation with Candice Robinson reminded you that your dreams are within reach, no matter where you're starting. So until next time, I'm your host, Melissa Banks. Remember, your journey is unique, your dreams are valid, and you have the power to design a life you love. So keep
Absolutely.
believing, keep growing, and keep shining.